Hi, everyone. This is Mary Ann Pizzatola. I am president of the New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees, the organization that incorporated for the purpose of uniting all of these municipal retirees from the city of New York and suing New York to stop them from forcing us into a Medicare Advantage plan against our wishes. So today with me, we have another couple, a retiree and his wife, who are going to tell us about how this plan has affected their family and continues to affect their family, because we are trying to help them today, matter of fact, with an ongoing problem due to the ineptness of Office of Labor Relations. So Lou and Ed, welcome. I've welcomed you to our little YouTube channel, and we're trying to help you. Please and tell everyone what your story is on how this plan is affecting your family currently.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary Ann. I'm Lou. This is my husband, Ed, who's retired from the police department in the city. We were made aware of this occurring last fall, getting multiple papers and books, and none of which was terribly clear. But thank God, I have a friend who knows everything about everything and got me hooked up with the New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees, or I still know absolutely nothing. To make a very long story short, and after many days of anxious thinking and planning and trying to reach people and getting nowhere and hanging on the phone for an hour to reach someone that doesn't know too much about what they're talking about, coming down the home stretch in February, we were waiting because we knew we had an April 1st cutoff. What should we do? One of our big problems is we have a son that needs special services and is dependent upon us to help him, and has been covered by the city for 20 years at least or more. I haven't looked up the date. Anyway, his needs require very expensive medication, none of which would be appropriately handled through the options that were open to us. Union coverage has a cap, wouldn't cover it. Sliding into the Emblem Health, well, he couldn't just go, we all had to go, which would mean we were looking at close to $700 a month. And in addition to that, there'd be another $125 for Part D services and who knows what copays and whatever else. Right now on traditional Medicare, everything is taken care of and there's no issue, okay? But there was no way to stay there that the city offered us except to either pay these high monthly fees or go into the Advantage plan, neither of which worked. So finally, with a looming date of April 1st, we said, I guess we just have to take them out. I don't know what else to do. So we sent in their health benefits program application change form, which is very difficult to navigate and impossible to get anybody to talk to explain how things are supposed to be done. So we did our best, and with great difficulty submitted it. We actually had to pay an IT person to help us get this form to the city. It was not an easy, thing, even though we were smart enough to be able to scan it into the computer and do all that stuff, but sending it off was above our pay grade. So we sent it. And then a couple of days later, lo and behold, through the efforts of the organization, the judge ruled against the city and said, no, you can't charge for a plan you already said you were going to give somebody. So then we said, wow, we don't really need to withdraw from the plan. We can stay where we are. So we sent a second form and we heard nothing about anything. Okay. And then we finally started emailing, asking, did you see this? Did you see the form we sent? Because we know there's so many people involved. And we were afraid the form would get lost and no one would notice that we didn't want to go ahead with this. And then we started getting emails back telling us, well, no, sorry. The statement was, you stated that on February 25th, you submitted a health benefits change form for removal of coverage for your family member. Unfortunately, the application's been honored. Wow, that was quick work. And once your request is submitted, that change is irrevocable, even though our change requested an April 1st change and was followed up within the week with another form telling the city that we did not want the change, which was still weeks away. And we have been back and forth without any kind of, you know, resolution. In fact, it was like, you know, what didn't you understand when I told you this is irrevocable? That's it.
When
So
I saw that, I was appalled.
yeah, it's very emotionally draining. And the hardest part of this, one of the hardest parts, is that you can't get a clear path forward and you can't get people to explain what's happening. And it's a one size shoe fits all, but people have different size feet and it doesn't work. Okay. And the whole thing was a problem to start with, but it really is taxing, especially for people in our age category. And without the resources of the New York City Organization of Public Services Retirees, we would know nothing and have nothing. So thank goodness there is an organization available. Anyone out there listening, please send them a check and support them, because they're our only hope of trying to keep our heads upright.
Lou, I understand. I mean, this is extremely frustrating for all of us. And what I think I find most frustrating with your case is here, you and your husband taking care of a dependent adult child that needs to be on Medicare and Medicaid and have a private prescription plan because your welfare fund has a cap and he would, his medications would exceed the cap. So in order for him to maintain the insurance that he had, which is the same as you have, that he would have had to opt out of this plan. But by doing so, especially with the time constraints that we had, if everyone remembers, that this plan was going to go into effect according to the city, and while we were still in court waiting for a judge's decision on April 1st, and which meant you had to opt out well in advance of April 1st. Specifically, they were telling us that if you call the 833 hotline, that if you didn't opt out past February 10th, your data was going over to the Alliance, and you were going to get stuck into this plan whether or not you wanted to or not. And even if you opted out and you still were able to get out of the plan, put the opt out for the plan in before April 1st, you may still be in it for a few months, which is originally why the city said, the Alliance said, we'll give you until June to opt out. It wasn't because they were going to give you a free test drive. It was because it could take at least 3 months to get you out of the plan because they had to enroll your data into it. So in this situation, unfortunately, because of further city ineptness, you cannot have a split family type plan, whereas you and your husband were on GHI senior care and paying the opt-out fee, and your son being in Medicare Advantage. You all had to be in the same plan. So now your son has these special needs. You had no choice. You tried to reach out to OLR. You sent them an email to the commissioner page asking, please help. No one's answering the phone. We find this form confusing. We don't know what to do. Please help us. No one called. Then you get an email back after submitting the form, working on it, hiring someone to help you do it. After February 25th, you did it again on March 5th. You finally get a letter back on March 16th from Labor Relations, basically saying that they honored your form. You know, what do you want? They've never done anything that fast. I agree with you there. Then you're trying to say no. Her response was, well, we disenrolled you. What do you want? And you're trying to say, no, this doesn't make any sense. She asks you again, do you want to re-enroll you and your wife? You're like, we didn't disenroll me and my wife. We only disenrolled my son because of what you were trying to force us into. They haven't even responded to that, and today's March 27th. And then her last response that I saw was, I sent you the information below in red. What didn't you understand? That's like a smack in the face, because all she really had to do, Labor Relations had to do, was pick up the darn phone and say, hello, Ed and Lou, I'm so sorry you're going through this. Let me explain this to you. Or, hey, are you sure you want to do this? Because now she's saying to you, your request is irrevocable. And I'm not finding anywhere in the SPD that she's quoting that this is an irrevocable choice, and that you were compelled to make this choice to protect the health of you, your wife, your son, and you had no choices. And now that the judge declared that their actions illegal, they should have honored your requests to put yourself back in the plan. And this to me looks like a tactic that they're just trying to get anybody and everybody off the health insurance plan so they don't have to pay for anyone. That's, thank you for your service.
One thought, I looked up that person's phone number at the Office of Labor Relations site, and I made the call to break this kind of email. This calls for a call and not an explanation on a piece of paper on your screen. So I left a message, and her response was not a return call, but this email that blew us away. Because at the end, basically she says, would you like to come back into coverage? And my God, the thought struck us, wait a second, we're just asking for a family member to get out because it's too costly this way. And how dare you say that all three of us are out when you're not asking me to sign a form or my wife to sign a form. This is absurd. But I just want to repeat what Lou said. Thank God for the New York City Organization of Public Services Retirees. I don't know if people know this about the organization. They've been battling this battle for 6 months, and it really has consumed their lives.
It has.
And
Situations
they
like
are
this.
so dedicated, and the sacrifices they're making really puts them into a category of real superheroes.
Yeah.
These are the real superheroes who do the battle every day in the trenches. They don't get much back more than angst and problems, but please join this organization, help them out financially. Right now with the judge's ruling, we're okay, but that would not have been without the New York City Organization of Public Services. Would not have been.
Yeah, that's the key
That
point.
is the optimism that we have. And it's thanks to people like Mary Ann, Michelle, and the whole team of people who are giving of their time for 6 months, half a year, every day, 8 hours minimum. Thank God for you and your whole team.
Don't make me cry.
Yeah, well, there'd be no hope of any of this. There'd be no hope. The judge's ruling would have never occurred, and the whole thing would just be a done deal. That's the bottom line.
Mary Ann, tears of joy.
I hope so, honey. I really do, because you have my word. I will send this off today, and I am gonna try my darndest to get you an answer one way or another. I have one phone call in already to try to help you, and I will draft that email like I promised to Renee Campion from OLR as well. And I hope that we're starting, tomorrow will be Monday. I'm hoping that we will get an answer sometime this week by telephone will be my ask, not by a damn email. And you should never have to hire someone. If you have problems that you need to get documents uploaded into their portal, you call me. I will do that for you for free. But this is extremely frustrating, and we know that they filed their appeal. They're still trying to challenge us, and they will potentially try to force us into this MAP plan. And I'm not sure what will happen in the future, but we are praying to the legal gods above that someone listens to us, and that our wonderful attorneys who have been arguing this case for us since August will be successful in court, and that we will prevail, and that you will be able to have a choice going forward, whether you opt eventually into a Medicare Advantage plan or stay within your GHI senior care or some supplemental to your traditional Medicare. And so I want to clarify one more thing too, is because we've already stated that your family is not alone in this situation, that that given the needs of your son, and we have other retirees where we've done videos where they have to have a private prescription plan, specifically because their medications are such that they would max out the welfare fund caps for their prescription, their union prescription plans. The additional burden you would have had there had you done that, excluding everything else for a moment, let's just address the prescription issue, is that you would have had to have paid for the supplemental plan, the catastrophic rider, that GHI prescription plan. You would have been paying $125 a month additional for your son for that prescription plan to cover his medications. And the only way you would have been able to utilize that, you would have had to pay the premium starting from the get-go, but you wouldn't have been able to use that plan until you would have exhausted your union welfare fund plan. Now, if per se, and I do not know this, but if your son's medication, because I have another retiree in exactly the same situation, if your son's prescription was not covered by the, Jill wants to say, if your son's prescription was not covered by the union welfare fund, you would never get out of it. And even though you had his welfare, your welfare fund, and you're paying $125 a month for the optional rider, you would never get into that rider because the drug wouldn't have been covered by your union welfare fund.
Right.
Now, take the other consideration in, your son has the extra needs of needing Medicaid on top of that. Medicare Advantage does not permit any other insurance other than Medicare Advantage. You would not be able to have that private prescription plan. You would not be able to have Medicaid. You would not be able to have TRICARE. You would not be able to have anything extra other than Medicare Advantage Plus plan. That's it. So for all these families in these special situations, this is something that the city and the unions never took into consideration, is families like ours, families that have situations that are not typical of an active employee, or that we would be dealing with at this age and time. They never thought about these special circumstances. And this is why I want to continue to do things like this, is because you bring light on a subject and a face to it, that this isn't just Marianne saying that there's a problem. This is a real life family saying, this would have destroyed our family. This has caused my family stress from the get-go. We're still having stress trying to deal with it. And just because of the way that the city did it was hard for you to navigate, whether it's this lady quoting an SPD that you didn't even know what SPD is or where to find it or what and it on the face value, this email from her doesn't even appear, the quote that she made, to be effective for you. It quotes in the parts of the SPD, it's a summary plan description, which is on the OLR website, is for employees, not retirees. So that'll be another issue I will bring up with them. But I wanted to thank you for taking the time today to come out and discuss this with us. And I can't make you a guarantee of how any of this is going to work out, but you have my promise that I will address this for you.
Thank you, Marianne. We really appreciate it.
And you're one in a billion, and I wish that you would become the CEO of the Office of Labor Relations and bring some sanity to this fog.
That is one inept organization, and I'm very disappointed too that the mayor reinstated or continued the term of the current commissioner, because the way things are running should never be like this, sadly. But thank you. What I'm going to do to close this, and then we can disconnect and I can call you back. We can video back. Is I want to close this with that video snippet that I had showed you before. So I want to share that with everyone now. And so to give some context in this, from the email that OLR sent, I was extremely disturbed by it, and it triggered this memory. I'm going to play this.
1996. Policy 78499098886. Dear Mrs. Black, on 7 prior occasions, this company has denied your claim in writing. We now deny it for the 8th and final time. You must be stupid, stupid, stupid. Sincerely, Everett Lufkin, Vice President, Claims Department.
is why I called you this morning, because when I read her line, I sent you that information below. What didn't you understand?
Good for you.
Sorry, but it really got me twisted. So, they will hear from me.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you both, and I promise you, I will make 2 phone calls. I will 1 phone call and an email today, and let's see that we can get you an answer sometime this week.
Thank you, Mary
Wow.
Ann. Thank you very much.
You're a blessing. Thank you. You and your team, you're the A team.
Okay, hold on.
Okay. Bye-bye.